Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for this session on freelancing, and the idea here is going to be as practical as possible. And we have 3 freelancers here, including myself, 4. So there's Mais, who will talk to us about finances, Silke will be about story planning and pitching, and then Ipanoy will talk about collaborations and promotion. Just to get an idea, how many of you in the room are freelancers? Okay, good. So we'll be more like an exchange. Okay, so I think we'll have a 3 presentation basically on like these 3 topics, and then after that we'll have a discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, finance is the most important thing. I think for us, we all at the end work for to survive. Let's say, and I think when we got the topic, all of us, probably you also guys, you agreed that like survive is not really the word nowadays, because now many freelancers, they really choose to be freelancers. We are not really waiting for like a full-time opportunity or a part-time opportunity. It's becoming choice more and more. And while it's becoming a choice, then we need more to work on it and to give it more time and effort. My name is, I'm late at introducing myself. My name is Meskat. I'm a Syrian journalist. I'm based in the Netherlands since like 10 years. I do cross-border stories between the Netherlands, Europe, and the Middle East, North Africa. I also do a lot of trainings, also cross-border trainings, we call them. So I collaborate with European or American organizations that they have projects in the MENA region. So I conduct also trainings to my colleagues in the region in Arabic, of course. The first thing that, going back to the topic about the finance, I came a little bit also from a management background, because I co-founded an organization and it became like a little bit successful. So when I became a freelancer since 1.5 years, I really thought that it is good to think in an organizational mindset. So we are at the end like an individual organizations or companies. So I felt that it's important to make a profile for myself and write where I am strong, where I'm weak, what is my the places that I need to develop, or how can I introduce myself, what is my vision. So that can make me understand myself, and then this way I can also introduce myself in a better way for the clients that I will work with. The thing that's also very important is to make multiple CVs, because instead of having like a long CV with a lot of different things, it can be useful to have a CV. For example, if I'm doing a training, I have a CV which is more specific about training, and another CV more specific about investigative journalism. I also cover different regions in the Middle East, North Africa, so I can include like samples that they are more relative to the client or to the organization or media outlet that I want to work with. So it's always like very important to make a customized CV for each project that we apply for or we want to contribute in. Also looking forward and thinking about how to grow also as an organization. So if I can increase my income, if I can increase my position, my publicity, or my articles, whatever, even the capacities, it's very important to think in a strategical way a little bit. There's also budget management. It was also really surprising me when I became a freelancer. I was very, very worried because I worked like as a full-time for a long time, and I couldn't really do the step out of being full-time because I had a daughter. I'm also a refugee in the Netherlands, and I'm a single mom. It's really heavy, you know. I want at the end to pay my bills, but then in one point I said, I will do it. Even I will work in Uber Eats, in whatever. I even called and asked about the rate of the cleaning rooms, you know, in a hotel, because I want to prepare myself for any scenario. But then in one point I waited and waited and waited, and then I said, okay, I had to jump. But then when I jumped, I was really surprised that within 1 year I increased my income with 70%. And then now I started with the second year, so I'm on the halfway, and it is going well. The thing that I think the important thing for me, it's also different from one to another one, is like when we sell ourselves, it's, of course, each of us has the rate, the daily rate that we use. For me, it was a little bit tricky because I couldn't really like say that this is my rate and put it as a condition. Sometimes I really want to work with the Deutsche Welle Academy, for example. But then the first time they offered me a really crappy offer, like almost like 150 euros per day. I had to travel to Tunisia and give like 3 full days trainings and come back. Very cheap, like it, and also preparing for that. It will take like the 3 days training will take like also more than I think 8 hours of preparation. So it was not a good deal at all for me, but I really wanted to go in because I know that they have a lot of work there. So I didn't have a choice. I did it, but then afterwards, my rate became higher and higher, and I'm doing well with them now, and I'm working a lot with them in the region. So this is like being flexible at the beginning for me was very important. Then we can reach a point that we can be a little bit like more strict about the rate, I think. Changing spending strategy, that was also very big for me because like if we have a salary and income every month, it's totally different than having like unstable income. Before my time is finished, and then Emmanuel will pull me out, I want to talk about the paid promotion. The paid promotion is an event, like when we're invited to go to conferences, all our colleagues, the other colleagues that they are employed, they are paid for these days. We're people in this room, we are not paid. We put from our time and from our working hours for this conference, but at the same time, I consider that as a paid promotion from my own budget. Then it's important to do like also voluntary activities or just be somewhere to show up and to make connections with other colleagues, and then probably getting better opportunities. So yeah, this is it. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for having me. I had the pleasure to talk to all of you, but I was particularly amazed by Maze's finance strategy. I learned quite a bit. I mean, only think of the increase that you made. So chapeau and thank you for sharing. As Imano said, we're going to talk a bit of planning and pitching, and we're going to start at the very, very, very beginning, hoping not to bore you, but to remind you of what it takes to be successful when pitching. Successful means being paid for the work that you do sufficiently. Pitch to a human being. So pick the editor, learn the full name, first name, second name, reach out via LinkedIn, conferences. We're here. Here are editors. Tomorrow there's going to be a session for editors specifically. Go there, look at their name tags, identify them and reach out to them. Don't be shy. They're used to that. And again, pitch a human being, not some random info email address. Know who you're pitching to. That means read the publication. Know the audience, know the reach, know their focus, their political point of views. They get from the comment section maybe. Get yourself familiar if you're not. That is the one thing, I think it's one of the most important things when pitching. Pitch a story, not a topic. A topic could be the war in Ukraine, cyber war in Ukraine. An example that you mentioned to me when we sat down was Syrian refugees coming to Switzerland. That's a topic, not a story. You need a story that you can pitch. That means you need characters. You need a setting, context, so on and so forth. You all know this, what it takes for good reporters, for sure, but don't forget it. It's already part of your pitch. It should be already part of your pitch. When you pitch, make very clear what you know and what you don't know, right? As an editor, and I've been an editor for quite some time too, I would like to know what is definitely none and what is definitely not none, right? There is no need to oversell and there is no need to undersell, right? Something we also discussed is, hey, how freely can I share my sources? And that's why I chose, and I'm a non-English speaker, I chose the verb indicate key sources and documents. Don't make them identifiable, not when you're pitching. That is something that is then needed during the reporting process, fact-checking, anything that happens to secure your a proper publication. But when you're pitching, you can be a bit laid back, not being too clear of what you have in hands when it comes to potential whistleblower and its documents. Every story proposal should be neatly packaged. Again, you know this, but be reminded to check your spelling. Facts, grammar, tone is also something that I find very important. Have someone read the proposal. I don't have a colleague sitting next to me because I'm freelancing, right? But I do have a colleague, she is also a freelancer. She's a documentary filmmaker. She nearly reads everything that I produce, from pitches to the final version that I hand in for editing processes. And I have only one. I would have liked her in double, like a third person maybe. I do think it helps to build sort of a network of people, like-minded people, people that understand your work, know your work, and maybe you have other freelance colleagues. Maybe freelance colleagues from different professions that can be helpful. Her, as and supporting me as a freelancer, as a documentary filmmaker, it definitely helps because she has a visual brain far more than I do, because I do mainly produce for printed digital media. So there's not much visual there. But she does, okay? So ask for help, reach out, and I'm pretty sure you will quickly find people to support you on that. Came up with this for me. That is my checklist of stuff that I should not forget when it comes to writing a pitch. I usually write a pitch, whether I then present it on the phone or a Zoom call or MS Teams or whatever, or whether I send it out, does not matter. This is my four-step paragraph, so to speak, pitch. And the last thing, and you mentioned already, don't forget, you have to talk about yourself. Did I forget to talk about myself? Did I introduce myself? There you go. Thank you. See, I did not forget. Write an excellent subject line. I hate writing headlines, and I probably can count on 2 hands of headlines that ever made it in the print version, because usually I have smart editors who are smarter in writing headlines, but this is my basic training, so to speak, right? Writing the subject line in the hope that it catches my editor's eyes. Pitch first, send draft later, right? Pitch, get green light, draft, reframe according to your editor's requests. Don't send them texts without having discussed the financial details. And not only the financial details, if it is a sensitive matter, you might as well talk about legal issues as well, right? Whether they would cover you, whether there is a need to talk to the company lawyer, so on and so forth. And that might all seem very logical and very natural, but at some point you need to fix that, at best in written. And if it's only an email, you need to put it down. Your fee, whether it's an hourly fee, a daily fee, whether it's a fee for the total piece, all those issues that could occur, you need to cover them, because that can lead potentially to stress, right? And that is something you want to avoid. Share your previous work. Be prepared. 1 minute. There you go. Jump over. State a deadline. Let them get back to you, right? And if they don't get back to you, you move on, right? That's also something. Be able to follow through. Don't pitch something that you're not sure of. And that's also part of the pitching process. Only pitch what you can deliver. And that is my last slide, and I think that's nearly as important as pitching a topic, whether pitching a story, not pitching a topic. If you have a union in your country for journalists, do join them. Because for stress and any negative interaction that might occur between you and the editor, the media house, there can be help that you could receive from a union. So do so. And if there is no union, or if the union is not strong enough, hey, get engaged, form a union, support your union to become a strong one and a voice that is heard. Thank you. Was that on time?
Hi. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm so happy most of you are freelancers. And before I introduce myself, I wanted to ask you, have someone come to you, read your tag and say, are you a freelancer? How do you survive? Have someone come to you and ask that question? And what did you reply? I have been asked that question a couple of times, and most people think that being a freelancer is because you don't have a choice. Like she said, most of us are freelancers because we made that choice and we love being freelancers. So my name is Naipanele Papa. I'm a freelance journalist. I'm based in Kenya. I cover technology, gender, human rights. I cover environment, and also, I don't know if I say technology and health. So for today, I'm going to cover self-promotion and collaboration. I asked that question also because when someone was asking me, like, how do you survive as a freelancer, or you're a freelancer, how do you survive? I will send someone to my Twitter handle. And if I send someone to my Twitter handle, what will they find, or LinkedIn? That is where I start with self-promotion. I believe that I am a brand, and I present myself as a brand. I'm a freelancer, yes, but I'm also a brand. If you go to my social media, you'll see what I have named these my interests. I've said I cover technology, all my interests. I cover all that. I have also put or written about my achievement, because I'm trying to promote myself. So sorry, I forget about this. So it is really important to develop a personal brand and a unique identity. You want people to recognize. If you cover technology, if you cover human rights, you want people to know you as that person who does that. That is how you promote yourself. For example, if there is a source that has some information and knows you cover human rights violation, she'll come to you because it's there online. So you do that, use social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. You put all that information there. You can also put on blogs and all your achievement, fellowship, grants, all that. It really helps you, sells you. People will approach you from this social media because they saw you, and they will. Some of them will give you work, or they will refer you to investigate something. They will give even tips because you have that information. You're selling yourself that way, and they believe because that information is there, then this person really knows what they are doing. So I'll talk about collaboration and cross-border. So you are a freelancer. You have limited funding, and you have a really good story idea. And that story idea, for example, is about a person is linked to other countries or a company. What do? You look for people in other countries, like other journalists in other countries. You identify them, you reach out to them, you tell them, I have this story idea about this company, and I see you've been working on such stories, or I want to just partner with you. This is what I have. Can you partner with me? These are things I need you to do. This will be my duties. This will be your duties. Can you deliver? And can you deliver through this timeline? Yeah, so as a freelancer, you have an idea. Don't just sit with the ideas. Look for someone in that country or even in your country, then team up and work together. But lay out these rules, like how you're going to do these stories. And it's really important, especially to set deadlines. If you decide like you're the best person to work with, and you really have to look for people who you really trust. So if you get that person, you have to tell them this will be the deadline, so that if they are not available, then they will tell you, I'm sorry, I will not be available, and you can look for someone better to work with. So why is collaboration important? Because it allows quality journalism. Why? You're bringing in people with different skills, different knowledge, and when you bring all that together, you produce something impactful, something beautiful. And like when you're working alone, then you reach a wider audience. I am from Kenya, someone else is from Sweden, someone else is from Ukraine. You publish in those countries, so it means wider audience. Also, you share resources. As a freelancer with limited resources, I don't have, of course, the money to travel, or maybe I don't have data skills, and someone else have that data skill is so perfect in research, and I'm good in writing. We can combine that and produce something very beautiful. And also to bring diversity. Sometimes, and most times, I think people who are in a certain area, a certain country, are best to tell their own stories. So if I'm here in Kenya and someone else, for example, in Somalia, the one in Somalia is best suited to tell the story. They will understand it better. So that is what someone can bring to a collaboration. So, and also another really important thing is when you do a collaboration, when you're many, it becomes hard for people you investigated to attack you, because who will they attack unless they attack a smaller publication? But when they do that, then the other publications can come together and fight for this other publication. So dealing the challenges, of course, you're going to deal with when you are doing collaboration. And it's really important from the start. You have to ask for equal pay. It doesn't matter where you come from, your region. Just as long as you're doing same duties and you have stated in from the beginning, this is what I want to be paid. Fight for that. I believe in equality. As long as you're doing the same thing, the pay should be equal. Also, it applies to crediting, and I know most of the time you are going to be pushed out of projects or you're not going to be given that credit. But I think as a freelancer, you really have to fight for that byline because it's so important. That byline is so important. You have to fight for it. And if someone is not going to give you, I think from the very beginning, ask them, are you going to give me a byline? If they don't, then you say no. Recently, someone told me they wanted to work with me, and I asked them, are you going to give me byline? They said no. I asked why. They said, we are a very small publication based in Europe. We're not like the New York Times. I was like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't, even if you're small or big, credit is credit. So, and if I'm contributing, then it's okay. I will need that credit. And sometimes when you can come or you can agree, I think it's okay to walk away, even if that project will be paying well, because sometimes you have to consider your mental health. When you are mentally not well, you can't work. So, for the longest time, or for all my investigation, I've been working with grants. And this is where I should, when someone asks me, how do you survive? I always tell them I work with grants and fellowships. So I've been working with grants. They're very important. For example, if you have stories, you have to learn how to apply these grants, and you also have to ask for something called working grant on salary, where you are paid monthly. That is how you survive as a freelancer. So you go to these organizations like Pulitzer, like Journalism Fund, and ask for that. But make sure that you, at the end, if they are paying for this accommodation, travel, you have a budget for working grant. Don't work for free. So successful grants and fellowship application is you have for most organizations, they prefer you have like 50% of research. So well-researched work, like 50%, very unique story idea, and you show the budget, the project timeline, a reasonable, of course, budget, and then an intent letter is very important. Go to a media organization and tell them you can tell them I'm going to apply for a grant and I will want you to publish this story. So I need a letter, and then you can have the story. So and in that, when you're applying for grant, you have to show how capable you are as a journalist and why you are that person who should tell that story. And then the grantors or the funders love collaboration, and I think it's the way to go. So another important thing is you can have a good story, but if a funder see that you cannot keep safe when doing that job, they are not going to give you that grant. So you have to show them I'm going to be safe, and show them how you are going to be safe, and also show them the impact of whatever project you want to be doing. And because you're working with grants, people have been asking, should a media organization pay you because you've already applied for a working grant, right? But it depends with how you approach this media house. Did you tell them, even if I get this grant, you're going to pay me something? If you didn't, then they're not going to give you anything. But if you had agreed, then I think you have to ask them for that salary. Thank you.
I'm of a writing journalist and a microphone journalist. So yeah, thanks so much for sharing your experience and those tips. I know that one of the things that and it comes through also through your presentation, everyone is wondering about how to make money, how to make money as a freelancer. Obviously, that money is not coming every at the end of the month, and that's like really the key difference between one of the key differences between freelancers and employee. But before we get into that topic a bit more in depth with questions from the audience, I wanted to give you each the opportunity to give us like just a couple very quick reasons why you prefer to be a freelancer than a staff. Maybe we can start like that. I'll put you on the spot.
I discussed that last night over dinner with a German colleague of mine. She's freelancing basically for her whole career, and she got offered a 50% job contract, and she's now wondering whether to do it or not, because, that's what I quote her, I love my freedom. And I sat there like, yeah, I understand. So it's that, being free to choose what to do and what not to do, where to go, where not to go, how to conduct an investigation and how not to conduct an investigation. And that is a great, great privilege.
Yeah, for me, I mentioned before that I came from I co-founded an organization, and the organization itself, it became big, successful, very good. But I end up doing a lot of management things, which is you don't like as a journalist. It's like filling sheets and giving orders and following deadlines of other people. And being in between, the manager who's pushing you and the journalists that they are complaining about the pressure, I really didn't like that. And I felt that I need to do things that I want, that I love, I have the passion about. So I struggled, as I mentioned before, to jump. I waited for 2 years, but then I had enough courage to do it. And yeah, it's going much, much better than I expected. Yeah.
I think for me it's still the same reason, freedom. I can choose when to work, what time to work, and I really hate moving every single day, waking up and being at an office at 8 a.m. It doesn't make sense for me, because in Nairobi, most of that time you're going to spend in traffic, so it's a waste of time. And I like the freedom that I get to do what I love. The stories that I think are more impactful, the underreported stories. And like when I'm employed and an editor have to tell me, go and do this story, and then I'm not interested in the story, or I'm not passionate about it. But if I choose a project, I'm going to choose something I'm very passionate about, and something that I know when I do it, it's going to have impact.
Also, I had this, I'm a little bit philosophizing myself. I had the idea, or I learned when I jumped to be a freelancer, that in the organizations, you have lazy people, you have very, very lazy people, you have hard workers, and like really hard workers. And then the organization or the company is like a boat, and when you're a hard worker, you're also like pushing for the lazy people, and actually you're paying their salaries without them contributing. So I really think if you're a hard worker, just jump out of that boat and be alone, and then do that for yourself instead of like making the effort for the other people. So if you have the ideal, the beautiful organization that everybody is doing the hard work, then that's perfect. But otherwise, I think freelancing is for hard workers. Yes.
I wanted to get a quick survey before talking about financing of how many people here are like 100% doing journalism. No side hustles, no one Raise your hand if you're only doing journalism, like nothing else. Okay, so actually a lot of people here seem to be mixing different jobs, which is quite interesting. And how many here are getting grants would be like, in terms of journalism, your main source of income? I think amongst you guys, Nakana would be the case. Mace, no, mostly it's commissions and from media. Okay, and Silke? Not so much grants there.
No grants. That has a very simple reason. I used to be head of board of journalism fund, so I can't go back to them and now ask them to give me money. I think that would be a bit difficult. So no, that's a very simple reason. Is I've been engaged with some organizations that are now none to give out grants, and since I've been affiliated with them in managerial positions. Head of board, for example, I can't. So that's simply the reason.
Amongst people here, how many would say your journalism depends mostly on grants? You can raise your hands. Actually, not so many. So yeah, you can speak to Nakanoy and Silke about how to get the grants.
Hello? Yeah. It's also, I think, because if you're it really depends. If you live in Europe and you get a grant for 5,000 euros, for example, like you can survive on that for a short time. If you're living like in Egypt, for example, my colleagues, they live in Egypt. If they get 5,000, then they can survive on that like 6, 7 months, 8 months. It's even high income. If you have 5,000 euros for the whole year, it's considered as a high income, more than middle income in Egypt, for example, in Tunisia, in Yemen, while it is, for me, because I live in the Netherlands, it's totally different, I think, also for the other colleagues here.
About the grants, basically what you apply is an average amount of what most journalists earn in your country. Basically, it's not. Sometimes it depends at the level where you've reached, but mostly it's an average of what journalists in your country earn.